Alrighty, and we will take a look at the intro video for the chapter and then dig into some of the work that's here. So let me share the screen. We are on week 5. And I've got him up there. We'll get the closed captioning on, and we'll see what our author has to say.
Today's workplace is that most professionals depend on technology for most of their communication. In this chapter, we'll focus on the most common form of written business communication, email. We'll also examine texting, phone calls, and video or web conferences. Business professionals often write 30 to 40 emails per day. They often receive well over 100 emails in a day. This continues to be the dominant form of business communication. This chapter will give you roughly a dozen guidelines to dramatically improve your success communicating via email. We also spent some time discussing phone calls and web conferences. These real-time communication channels allow you to connect deeply with others and make decisions far more efficiently. A lot of recent research shows that many professionals avoid calls and web conferences in order to use more convenient asynchronous tools such as emails and texting. At the same time, there's a lot of research that shows that professionals, particularly in teams, perform far more effectively and efficiently when they regularly use real-time tools such as calls and web conferences. So here's my challenge. Strategically choose the communication tools that will help you connect with your audience best and that will help you reach your work goals. I've seen many business professionals who are somewhat one-dimensional. They have their go-to tools, the ones they feel most comfortable with. Remember, it's all about your audience. Always ask yourself this question about your audience. What are the communication tools they want me to use? Do they want me to send an email, pick up a phone, or even meet in person? Make sure you're prepared to use the right tool to connect with others.
Okay, so what we see here is that while we're going to talk primarily about emails, we are going to also touch on a few other means of communication in this chapter, because we will find that emails are not always the appropriate tool to use. Not everything should be communicated through an email. Many things are not appropriate for emails. However, emails do remain the most dominant form of communication for business people right now. So just remember, not everything is in the form of an email, though. Okay, so let me get the PowerPoints going. Okay, you guys see Chapter 7 PowerPoint up there?
Yes. Yes.
Got it, good. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in this chapter is look at choosing the appropriate tool to communicate with. And then we'll get into the details for writing effective emails, how to handle your emotions when you're doing an email. We'll talk a little bit about instant messaging, or you probably refer to it as texting. And then digital message overload. I think that's something that we are all subject to these days. It seems like you can't get away from that cell phone that has text messages and emails coming in, just being bombarded with social media and so on. So we'll talk about some ways to manage that. And then we'll even talk about phone calls and video conferences just a little bit. Okay. So in the chapter, that's pretty much just a an overview of the same objectives that we just talked about there, starting off with looking at how we select the appropriate channel for communication. Okay, so you're going to have a number of tools that you can use to communicate, not only email, but telephone, you can have a video conference, you can have face-to-face communication. All of those are choices for you. The old-fashioned letter writing and so on seems to be going by the wayside, but that's still an option. So we're going to look at richness, immediacy, control, planning, and permanence of different types of messages. And we'll start off with what we mean by richness. Richness involves the level of immediacy and the number of cues available. And what they're talking about there, when we're talking about cues, that means like verbal cues, like your tone of voice, the gestures, facial expressions, those types of things. Obviously, email is not very good at delivering those types of things, whereas other types, face-to-face or video conferencing, might be better to do that. Immediacy refers to how quickly somebody is able to respond and give feedback. Now, once again, people can respond quickly to email, but they can take some time, and they may even ignore your emails. Whereas a more face-to-face or video conferencing type of delivery, you can get responses right away. Control refers to how well that communication can be planned and recording. Therefore, you can take your time before you develop your strategy. Planning, you can edit, you can revise, you can rehearse. Something you can do with email very easily, except for those of you that might have a tendency to hit the send button a little too fast. Permanence is the extent to which the message can be stored, retrieved, and distributed to others. Clearly, email can meet all of those, whereas a phone call might not be a good way to take a conversation and actually distribute it to other people or store it somehow. Okay, then we can also look at the constraints, coordination, and resources. Constraints are the practical limitation of coordination and resources. Some people may not have the ability to coordinate video conferencing. Coordination is the effort that has to go into getting everybody who is participating into that communication tool. And resources are the financial space, time, and other investments necessary to use different channels of communication. Again, email, once you've invested in whatever computerized equipment you need and internet services, does not require a lot of financial resources, whereas maybe video conferencing would require more. So a meeting of 10 employees that have to meet together and fly in from all different locations would, of course, be extremely costly in terms of time and financial effort. So if you look at page 204 in your textbook, you'll see an evaluation of different types of tools and how they meet those strategies for selection. For instance, if you see email there, you see email is really good for control, planning, permanence, constraints, coordinating, and resources, but not good on richness and immediacy cues. Now, synchronous communication, or those types of communication that occur in real time. Individuals give immediate responses to one another. They take turns in contributing to the communication. Asynchronous communication is not occurring in real time, and of course email is an example of that because it takes time to construct and send a message and then wait for a response. The individuals pay attention to and respond to the communication at the time that they choose, not when you are actually carrying on that conversation. Okay. And as mentioned in that first video there, email is the primary form of written business communication. And it's expected to remain that way for at least 5 to 10 years in most companies. I have no idea what will take place after email goes away. I'm sure there will be some sense of video where we actually see each other rather than just type in words. And of course, we've seen touches of that with FaceTime and that sort of stuff now, but for right now we expect this to be the primary form for a while longer. The principles that we're going to look at for an effective email is, of course, to use it for the right purposes. Make sure your email is easy to read, show respect for time, protect privacy and confidentiality, respond promptly, maintain professionalism and appropriate formality, manage your emotions effectively, and avoid distractions. Okay, and I think we saw last week while we looked at some of the examples of email, some of these principles being neglected. So easy to get into a situation that might turn out to something disastrous if you don't follow these. Okay, I'm going to stop the PowerPoint right now and go to another video that I found to be kind of interesting that gives us some little tidbits about emails. Now let's see, I think I'm going to stop the recording so that I don't get in any copyright problems like I did a couple weeks ago. But the recording is, the video is on your Blackboard.